With 2020 coming to an end, chess.com released their 2020 Chess Awards, which go over the best game of the year, the best move of the year, the best player of the year, among many other things. So if you don't want to miss out on those, make sure you guys subscribe because I will be posting a video for every single award given. Today we're looking at the game of the year, which was a game played between Daniel Dubov with the white pieces and Sergei Karyakin with the black ones. We have e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5, super standard for right now. Here we have c3, which is also standard, going for d4, which will, of course, control the center. Black now plays knight f6, we do see d4, and after takes, rather than either taking back or playing e5, which are the more common moves here, we have b4, which is a very rare move. The bishop moves back, and now e5. The knight hops into the center, and remember, you've already given away a pawn right now, and here, rather than either taking back or defending this pawn in some way, we have bishop to d5, giving away another pawn. So you are giving away pawns here as Daniel Dubov, but you are getting in return for that, as you see, especially with this beautiful bishop to g5 move, you are getting a lot of compensation in the form of attacking. Your pieces are very nicely placed, and you're really aggressive right now, and it seems to be paying off. Here, the knight hops to e7, again, a very passive move just in order to defend. So again, even with this material disadvantage that Daniel Dubov has right now, he's actually doing very well. We have white castling, and now h6. Quickly about castling, by the way, because a lot of people in positions like these might want to immediately continue the attack, but it's important, unless there's an immediate way to win a lot of material, you want to also make sure that your king is safe, because if your king's in the center of the board, it's very easy, and there's going to be a lot more opportunities for your opponent to simply counterattack when you go ahead and attack them. So it is important also to not forget about your king's safety. So white castling here is definitely smart. We have h6, bishop h4, and now black castles. We have rook to e1, centralizing the rook, and now queen to e8. Notice that the rook and queen are now staring at each other. And although queen to e8 is not necessarily a horrible move, that is something that both white and black should be aware of here. And in general, in your own games, if you see a situation where a queen and a rook are staring at each other, even if there's some pieces in between, you should be aware of that because it could lead to a lot of tactics. In fact, here, bishop e3, after a5, there's a very clever move here by white bishop to f6. Again, the important idea that this rook is staring at the queen leads to this very clever tactic here. If black takes, then of course the knight is pinned. If the knight moves, you lose your queen. And that is why in this position, rather than taking, we have a4. The bishop moves to c4, and then the knight moves to g6. Now here, it might seem as though the knight is defended, especially it being very close with its pieces and, of course, this pawn. But understand that this bishop is, of course, pinning this pawn, which is why queen to d3 does come with an attack on the knight. Of course, Sergei saw this, which is why he played d5. But d5 does allow for this very interesting en passant move, which not only, again, re-puts this threat of taking the knight, but also now there's this threat of the queen. So some important threats you have to deal with, and the perfect move, bishop to e6, stopping this threat, and of course stopping this pin, which of course allows this knight to be recaptured if the queen took it. After bishop to e6, most players would recognize that this attack is now done. There's no way to continue pursuing this attack, and a lot of players would probably try to figure out what to do next, and again, ignore this attack, but not white. In this position, white really doesn't care about this defense, and he takes the knight anyways. A beautiful sacrifice here of the queen, and when you sacrifice a queen, you need a lot of compensation. So not only taking the knight, after that you can also take the bishop. If the queen moves to here, for example, then this discovery becomes very dangerous. For instance, rook to e7, you win the queen. So here the queen comes over to f7. In this position, the bishop simply takes the pawn on c3. The king moves out of the diagonal here, aimed at with the bishop. And now rook to e4, the queen moves, and although you're not winning the queen, you are having a beautiful attack after rook to e7. Here the rook moves to g8, and now bishop takes rook on g8. So this, of course, you have a built up, a very nice attack on this pawn, so the rook has to defend it, and then you win the exchange. And in this position, if you just count up the material, you have enough compensation for that queen that you sacrifice. In fact, here white is certainly better, and as I'll show you with these rest of the moves, Daniel did end up winning this game here in very nice fashion. You can see this very nice, some trades here that happened, and white continues to attack very nicely. And in this position, black simply resigned. So a great game here, certainly the game of the year. I don't think a lot of people could argue that. It's just beautiful here how white managed to attack with so much persistence, not giving up, even after it seems to most players like the attack is completely over. Make sure you guys subscribe, as I will show the move once more again. Make sure you guys subscribe for more content like this, and I will also go over the other awards from 2020, so definitely subscribe so you don't miss out on those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.